Good evening, Canada. This is Sophie Butcher, reporting live from Ontario, Canada, exactly 14 years after the Walkerton tragedy. A heartbreaking environmental disaster which shook several lives and greatly affected the small community of Walkerton, Ontario forever. This tragedy struck Walkerton, a community of 5,000, starting May 11th, 2000, when people from the community started experiencing unusual infections such as diarrhea. About a week after, on May 21st, more and more people started to experience these symptoms. After doctors inspected the ill, it was shown that these symptoms were of E. coli infection. E. coli is a gram-negative bacterium found in the intestines of humans and animals, commonly associated with raw, uncooked meat, but can be found in water as well. This contamination was from farm runoff into a nearby well. Stan Cobell was the manager, and his brother Frank Cobell was the foreman of Walkerton's public water supply. Neither had any training in their positions. Due to being exposed to the E. coli contamination in the water supply, 7 people lost their lives and more than 2,500 people became ill because they were told it was okay to drink the contaminated water by the Walkerton Public Utilities Commission, even though lab tests of the water tested positive for E. coli contamination. After news got out that all these people were becoming ill, Walkerton's medical officer of health issued what is called a boil water advisory, warning the community that drinking the contaminated water supply is potentially fatal and should be boiled before consumed. The Cobell brothers were questioned as the tragedy became more serious, and they both pleaded guilty to a charge of common nuisance. Frank even admitted to drinking on the job. Stan was sentenced with 1 year in prison, while Frank was sentenced 9 months of house arrest. Good evening. We are here today with Pascal Butcher in her home in Walkerton, Ontario, and she is a survivor of the E. coli contamination and the Walkerton tragedy. So Pascal, what was Walkerton's community like during the tragedy?
Well, it was very scary, and everybody was panicking because we didn't know what was going to happen to us, if we were going to die or be very, very, very sick. So we were all very, very worried.
Okay. And were you sick at all from the E. coli in the water?
I actually was very sick, and I was taken to hospital. And I spent a few days there, and I was in critical conditions, but the medicine and the doctor cares got the best out, and I survived.
Okay. Thank you for having me, and so glad that you survived. Have a good night. This tragedy costed the community of Walkerton more than 65 to 165 million Canadian dollars in repairs, which is equal to 60 to 150 million US dollars. This money was to help clean up the contaminated water supply and treat the thousands of people who became sick. Walkerton is still recovering from the tragedy today, but now the way that the water supply is looked at is a lot more precise. Now that there was this tragedy, daily monitoring of the chlorine levels to make sure that it is clean enough for the people to drink is big and very important for the managers of the water supplies. Now, the managers of the water supplies have previous experience and know how to work their job versus the 2 others during the tragedy. Reporting live from Walkerton, Ontario, this is Sophie Butcher, and have a great night.